Okay, so there's another idea I want to kind of talk about, and I don't really know the answer to it, but I just have some thoughts on it. And I think that through discussing it, I mean, it will help me kind of think about it further, and maybe some other people will have some things to talk about and think about, and maybe come to some kind of an answer and figure out some things to do with the idea, maybe. And the kind of idea and the question is, where does money come from? You know, we live by this form of exchange of currency. Like everybody gets valued differently depending on the work that they do, and then they take that and then they're able to have some sort of flexibility in their lives where they get the things that they need and maybe have a little bit of extra, to buy things that maybe they don't really need but they might want. um, and so there seems to be a lot of jobs out there that are necessary, for the time being, and there are those that aren't. However, some of the ones that aren't necessary are some of the ones that get paid the most. So, for example, like, and I mean, I watch sports, but professional athletes, if they all went, if there was no professional, you know, athletic leagues out there, the world would be fine, you know. However, they make tons of money, and they make all this money comes from, it's not anything that's being done in the arena. It's like, I mean, people might go and buy food there or something like that, and then they need to eat, but it's overpriced food. They could get that someplace else. They go in there to watch a game. They paid, hundreds of dollars to go watch a game in person. They could have watched it on TV. You could just go watch it, your local high school team play, but you're watching some of the best athletes out there, and it's an experience and whatever. However, all this money that they're getting is money that people earn, who a lot of them earn or get get whatever you want to call it, much less money in their daily jobs, and then we choose to go spend the money on these enterprises, on these events, the basketball games, the football games, baseball, hockey, all that. It's extra. So they're not doing anything that's really necessary for society to advance. It's just entertainment, and then they get paid the most money. And that's not to say that, I don't really think that anybody deserves that much money in a year. And it's, only if there's, everybody else is living well. If there was no homeless people out there, if there was no, people just struggling to get by and skipping meals and having horrible health conditions and things like that, then okay, yeah, take your private jets and do whatever you want. However, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if there's all that extra money that we have to spend on games, and we do it, and some of us will save up, and we don't even really, it might not be the best decision to do it, but it's like, oh yeah, we went to the game, and the arenas are constantly packed and stuff like that, then why can't we spend more money to fix our society? Why can't we, you know, spend more money on schools? Like, people freak out when they get their taxes raised or something like that, but then we give tons and tons of money away to professional athletes just to go see them in person, or to a concert or something like that, or even to a movie theater, just to pay a little bit extra to get out to go to a movie theater and pay extra money to see something on a big screen and pay extra money for the food and stuff like that. It's not necessary for our lives. And then if you go and there's tons and tons of poor people around, and at the same time, and people will make these arguments like, oh, they don't deserve whatever because they're not working, when really the opportunities aren't really out there. I mean, if you want people to, who don't have a sort of resume, to go out there and like work their way through McDonald's and go up, it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's a game of kind of like musical chairs, so we need jobs that are going to just be like more, first of all, they're going to pay more. Second of all, it's more ideal if they're, based on people's skills, like their creativity, what they really want to do, and getting them into those positions so they can see that they're really valued. They're going to get money for, themselves that they feel good about, and they're going to be doing things that they feel good about doing, and people's lives are going to be better. I mean, if you just go and you drive around, you drive up the highway, you drive through towns and stuff like that. Look at all the extra things that we have that we really don't need. Oh, I want a boat. I go get a boat. You know what I mean? And I can't really take it out. That's not me, but you see that. And so, uh, I don't know. It just kind of gets to me sometimes. It's like we spend a lot of time hating on poor people. Oh, they deserve it, or maybe we just don't want to think about it, or it's disturbing. So it's like I don't know. But if we have our taxes raised, it's freaking out. It's like, oh, the government's coming after us or something like that. No, it's a democracy. Like we have to decide what we want to do with our money and what our priorities are, and make those things happen. You know. So there's a lot that we need to get done. We don't want the world to be destroyed by siphoning all the oil out of it and just putting all the carbon dioxide in the air. We don't want to defund schools just to give the money to rich people who have all kinds of money that they don't even know what to do with, and they're just going to hold on to it. And inequality is just going to get to this point where it's going to reach a breaking point, and who knows what's going to happen. So unless there's some other sort of way, like we got to be willing to raise taxes, and I think it should start with rich people. We're going obviously in the other direction, but even for middle class or lower class people, if we're going to pay a little bit more out of our paychecks, but it's going to be good for all of us because we're going to have services, our kids are going to be able to go to school, you know, public institutions are going to be able to run more efficiently and effectively. We got to consider that. There's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of productive capability out there, and it's on us to figure out what we want our society to look like. It's not going to be guided by some invisible hand, to some extent, yeah, maybe. But we have a lot of willpower we can use, and we're just not using it right. And there's a lot of resources out there. We have the money. We're the richest country on earth. What do we want our society to look like, and what do we want the world to look like? Do we want to dominate each other, just crawl on top of each other and see who can be number one? And like survival of the fittest, and I'm just going to do whatever I can to just be in charge and take everything for myself? Or do we want to just have better communities and better society and live and appreciate each other and help each other grow and, have everybody be their best self? I know it's not going to be like that, but it could be more like that than it is right now, and I feel like we're going in the wrong direction. So just some thoughts on that. Where does money come from? And what do we want to do with it, and what's really productive, and what do we want our world to look like?